It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview the Canadian sprint kayaker, Laurence Vincent Lapointe. How are you doing today?
Hi, I'm doing good, and you?
I'm doing good. Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to become a professional kayaker?
I decided to become a professional canoer, but it was more of a, let's say, it just happened. Because at first, when I started my sport, I started canoeing with my friends. I was really, really bad at it. And also, like, there was nothing. Like, there was no world championships, no world cups, no world Olympic games for women's in my category. So I really started for fun mostly, but younger than that, I had started sports as a whole because I saw the Olympics. So when I was super, super young, my dream was to go to the Olympics. But when I started canoeing, I didn't really have a goal. I was doing it for being with my friends and just for having fun. So I just kept going. And at one point, I became decent and then I became better. And then I pursued that avenue.
What was it like getting into sprint canoeing?
It's really fun, but very difficult. It is a sport where there's so much cross training that happens because, well, you cannot be on the water paddling for 10 hours a day. So you need to do a lot of weight training, need to do a lot of cardio training, and you need to do so much stuff outside of only the paddling aspect of it, that it's very busy. But I love it. I love it a lot. Like, being on the water it feels just so freeing and empowering, because it's a challenge to stay in those boats. So to know that you're doing it and you're doing it well and you're being fast, it's a very freeing feeling.
What's it like representing Canada as the whole?
It's very just very rewarding, because in my career I've had to represent Canada so many times, and every time I felt very thankful to be allowed to do that, because whenever I came back, people would be really proud of me and just congratulate me and tell me how I had motivated them or I had inspired them by doing just what I liked. So it's one thing to do one thing you like, but it's even better to do something that everyone else is proud for, seeing you to do it, right? So I was really, really proud to be allowed to do that. I think there's so many people behind me, cheering for me, and just, yeah, I was very thankful.
What was it like going to the ICF Canoeing Sprinting World Championship in 2017?
Well, in 2017, I just come back from a pretty rough patch in my career, where in 2015, I went to the World Championships and I came fourth, which fourth for an athlete is amazing usually, right? At the World Championship, you're fourth in the world. But the problem was that I had never become like I never been out of the podium. I had all golds and one second place in all my years in on the international field. So coming fourth out of the podium was really painful for me. And it really was a kind of wake up call on how I was preparing myself, because I was preparing myself as good as I could with my body, but my mental mindset was really not there because I didn't know how to prepare. I didn't have like anyone to help me with that. So I realized during the World Championships in 2015 that maybe there was something that wasn't going super well. And so 2016, I had a summer where I could not go for competitions because of school. So for my 2017 games, World Championships, when I came back, it was really difficult for me because it was like you had this massive moment in your life that you are very disappointed about, and then you had nothing, and then you're coming back. So people, like, no one was expecting me to do well, and I didn't know what to expect, but I was training so hard and so well that I came back as strong as I could ever be, and I just, managed to do what I did best. So
What's it like going to the 2010 and 2011 World Championship?
So in 2010, it was the first ever World Cup and first ever World Championship, but official, because the year before discipline was in demonstration during the World Championships, but it wasn't considered as being official. So in 2010, I got selected to go for the World Cup tour. And honestly, I didn't even know I was getting selected for it because I was still pretty young. I turned 18 during those World Cups. So I went to the trials and I did my best. And then that was like on Saturday or Sunday, and the team came to me and they were like, yeah, congratulations, you won. Make sure you have your passport. We're leaving next week. And I was like, oh, what? So that's how my career internationally started. And so World Cups went amazingly. And then I went to World Championships, and it just felt like it was the continuity of what happened in the World Cups. I was just doing my best, having so much fun because it was my first time and everything was new, and I got the nickname of Smiley during those competitions because I was just smiling so much. I got cramps in my cheeks. So I just did my best. It was amazing. I'm sad a little bit that the competition was not as fierce as it could have been, but at the same time, it was the first ever real event that happened. So I feel like, you have to start somewhere. And as much as people were complaining that the women's were not good enough during those competitions, I feel like we had to start somewhere. And that's what we did. And I just loved it.
What was it like, obviously, getting the nickname Smiley right off the bat, starting your career?
It was just funny because I was still a child compared to the rest of the team. And I was having a blast. I was just doing my best, having good results, and it was just so fun. So I was honestly always smiling, and just it's not a joke. I got cramps the whole time, and so the head coach was like, "Yep, your nickname is now Smiley." It was a pretty cute thing.
How was it like in 2013 going to the World Championships to win gold medal?
So 2013 was a different year. Yes. Sorry, sometimes they blend. It was a different year because the teammate I had been with for the last 3 years, so Mallory Nicholson, she was my teammate from 2010 to 2012. She sadly had to retire to go pursue a master. So I was left, let's say, alone, but not really, but still. And the thing is, it was also a year where I was pretty much full-time in school. So it was really difficult for me to train and go to the training camp with my teammates. And I ended up the teammate I was supposed to be with ended up having to train with someone else because I wasn't there. So about a week before the competition, I'm told, like, yeah, I can't do it with you. I need to do it with the other one I've been training with. So I turn around, ask my teammate in my club, do you want to try? Because at the time they weren't selecting the fastest singles to make a crew boat. They were selecting the fastest crew boat. And so I asked my club mate, like, do you want to try? We'll and we were on the boat, both on the same side. And so, yeah, we just tried, happened to be at the competition for our third practice together. Like the race was the third time we paddled together, and we did win. It was just going really well. And so that year we got pretty much everything. We went to World Cups, it went super well. We went to World Championships, it went super well. And yeah, that was the first time I switched teammates, and it was fun. It was really fun.
What was the 2018 season like, winning 3 gold medals?
So 2018, I was in such a good shape. I was like, the year before 2017, I'd come back and I'd done really well. I wanted to keep going, and I was like, at the time, I was full time I was back full time in sport, because in school. So at the 2017 was such a good year for me that I came back in 2018. I was really motivated to keep going and keep pushing as good as I could. And I was training really well with teammates, with my coach, with everyone. And I got there. I did, during the World Cups, I did the best races I could do. I think I did 3 world records during the same competition, I think, or something like that. It was insane. I was really, really ready for those competitions. It was just, it was a good year. I just remember being motivated, and physically and mentally, mostly physically in shape, sometimes not as much because the mental state varies, but I was doing really well.
What was it like going to the Pan American Games in 2015? What was it like going to Tokyo to the Pan American Games, and what were some of your accomplishments at Tokyo?
So at the Olympic game in Tokyo, that since it was kind of a dream of mine since I was a kid, and it had been so long since we'd been pushing for women to be included. It was quite the ride, right? I really, really wanted to go to the games. It was the thing I wanted to do in my career. It was the summit I had been going for. And it was really complicated because about 2 years before going to the games, 2 years because of pushing back the games. But so in 2019, I got suspended right before the World Championships. And that was really a rough patch for me, because for so long I was by myself. I couldn't have any contact with my teammates, with my coaches, with the whole team, as just the whole organization. I was pretty much left on my own. And I knew I did not cheat, right? I was suspended, but in my heart, I knew I didn't do it. So I was looking everywhere to find how it happened. And for months, I looked and did so many tests and did everything you can think of. I did it. I did a polygraph. I did analysis on my hair. I did analysis on everything I could think of having drank or eaten at the time. I did so many tests, even did tests on my ex's hair. And after about 6 months, I was able to prove I was quite sad at the time, but I was able to prove that actually it was my ex who had taken something illegal and then kissed me. So that was before that happened, I was really sent toward the games. My goal was the games. I was just ready. 2018 was such a good year. And so 2019 was supposed to be a really good year because I was training really well and working really well. And that happened. So that was the first down to my next 2 years, I'd say. So that was really difficult, but I was able to prove by January 2020 that I was, clean and I didn't do it. It was not my, I didn't do it. So I was cleared completely. I was allowed to go back to training. And that was, a new up for me. I was back with my team, ready to train. And about 2 months later, COVID happened. So, and at the time, it was really weird because when I went back with my team, I had a new coach. And he and I talked. We were like, okay, we're going to train as hard as we can because the games are in 8 months. So we pushed and we pushed and we pushed. And then not even 2 months after, COVID happens. When that happened, when we were told, go back home, it was like, okay, how are we going to do the games? And then the announcement that the games would be pushed back, when I heard it, I got mad. I was really, really mad. I was like, I've been pushed back so much, like my suspension, and every time in my career, someone told me women should not be allowed in the Olympics. And every single thing I've been told against me going to the Olympics, I just thought back on all of that and I was mad when they said we're pushing back the Olympics. But that didn't last long because my coach calls me and it's like, yeah, Laurence, you know what? Let's take this as an opportunity to work well, with your mind and your body, not just the body. We need you to have a good mindset to go to the games, because the games that the athletes that perform at the games are those who are not only physically prepared but also mentally prepared. And he really wanted me to have like the whole package, be ready. So when he told me that, I was like, you're so right. I was gonna push myself for these 2020 summer games when now I have the opportunity to take one more year and go back to what I know I can do and what I am able to do. So it was really good. I had a good summer. And at that point, I felt like I didn't feel down. COVID happened and for most people, and even it was sad. But at the same time, I took that opportunity to feel better, be with my family, and just not sad of what happened. So it was just good preparation for me. And then I went back to training camps. It was awesome being back with my teammates. Then training camps, crazy training camps, and then competitions in 2021 to select for the games. I didn't do it. I got second. I didn't manage to qualify. And when that happened, not qualifying was pretty unpredicted thing on my part, because in my mind I was going to the games. Since even before my suspension in 2019, I was like, I'm going to the games. So when I did not make it in 2021 at the beginning, I didn't give up. I went back to training even harder, and because I knew there was also, we could try to qualify as a double with my teammate, but without her at the time because she was already qualified, so she couldn't re-race to qualify a double. But I could still try. But then COVID happened again, and that competition for re-qualifying was canceled. That was in Brazil. And so I keep training, and I'm just like, maybe we can get like a special quota, because of like the fact that I couldn't qualify was based on my suspension that was completely not my fault and I had been cleared for. So we asked for special quotas to allow me to race, and it was so complicated, so much political stuff, but I didn't get it. And I think it's about a month before the games, but I'm still training as if I'm going. In my mind, I am going. So I'm just training as someone who's going. And then there was like stuff that was done, and they looked into how I could get a quota, and we ended up getting quota about, I think, a month before the games. Such a relief. Such a giant relief. Just finally, everything I've worked for is in my grasp. I can do it now. And so I went to the games. It was just the biggest, craziest competition of my life, but also so quiet because no spectator and no one to watch us. So it's just as good as I could have thought. It was just, I loved it. It's hard to explain what it was for me, like the Olympic Games, but I went and I did what I had to do, and I'm so proud of everything I've accomplished. It was just the perfect competition, even with everything that happened, even with all the like restrictions we were in, and even with the bad weather, because let's be real, it was the worst weather. It was side wind, and for our sport, side wind is so unfair because one side will have less steering to do, and the other side will have way more steering to do to accomplish the same goal of going straight. So yeah, it was not the best weather. but I accomplished what I did, and because of the weather, I am more proud of my second place than I have ever been of a first place before.
How did it feel to obviously make that dream come true that you became an Olympian and now looking at your career, being a two-time Olympian medalist and a 16-time world champion?
It's well, the moment where I knew I had done it was when I was on the podium at the Olympic Games for my C1 race. I came second, and I'm on the podium. And at first, usually, since I'm used to be in the first step, on the first step of the podium, it's usually the Canadian national anthem that rings, right? That we hear. And well, at that moment, I don't hear the Canadian national anthem. I hear the American one. Well, the United States national anthem. And like it just hits me, and on like during a fraction, I'm like disappointed, but then after that I realized it just hits me even harder, everything I've gone through in not only the last 2 years because of everything I recalled, but also my whole career. Every moment I've been told I should not do canoe, women's were not good enough, or I should not be allowed to race at World Cups, World Championships, or even the Olympic Games. Everything that happened, I get that wave of craziness that hits me. I'm like, I'm here. I did it. And I just start both like bawling out, like just crying, but also laughing so hard. And it's just the perfect moment. I have a photo of this moment, and it's just everything. And yeah, that was when I realized I'd done it.
What was it like getting to put on that wetsuit to represent not just Canada, but also have the Olympic rings on your wetsuit?
Well, it's funny because so during the competition we had the clothes, right? And I didn't really get like the shivers, but when I was told officially that I made the team for the Olympic Games, about like I said, about a month before, I was given the jacket. I was given like the team jacket, and I put it on, and I got full body shivers. I was so excited. It's so weird. You get like full body shivers from putting on a jacket. And that's what I had. Like, I was just like, oh my God. It's just crazy. And that's kind of how I felt. And the funny thing is, when you get to the games, usually, everyone's like, oh, you'll get the I'm at the games moment. And I was at the games for almost 2 weeks. And for the first week and a half, nothing. I'm there. I'm doing my stuff. I know I'm at the games. I know, like, mentally I am at the Olympic Games. I am where I've always been, wanted to go. But I didn't have that realization until my semifinal in single. I believe that was on Thursday. On Thursday, I did my heats the day before, and then this is the first race of the day of my final, of the race I got second, of the race I've always been working for. And I get on the water and I do my preparation. And then I get to the starting line. The race is in less than a minute, and I just have a flash, and I realize I'm at the Olympic Games, and I'm on the water, and I'm like, I'm at the Olympic Games. But it's such not the moment for that, because I'm racing in less than a minute, but I'm just freaking out and having fun and just smiling from here to here, from ear to ear, because I'm so happy. I'm pumped up. I'm like, I'm at the Olympic Games, almost dancing in my boat. And my parents saw me because they were filming the athletes before the race started, and they told me that from home they saw me like smiling and laughing, and they were worried. They were worried that I was just not concentrated enough, or just too how do you say that, they thought I was like too confident or something. But I was not concentrated for sure, but also it wasn't because I was confident. It was just because I I realized I was at the games. And that's really stupid because you don't do that on the race, like right before race. The race really didn't go well, but I still qualified. And my coach was like, "Why are you laughing? You had such a bad race." And I told him it's because I'm at the Olympic Games and I did the final. I managed to just be there for the race. That's it. So yeah, it was pretty crazy.
What was your typical game day routine and ritual like during your time at the Olympic Games?
My ritual for the Olympic Games days was mostly training and just resting well because it was really, really hot. It was like 40 degrees most of the time. So we had to make sure that whenever we went on the water, we'd stay cool right after. So we had like ice jackets and we had an ice bath. And most of the time, just go cool down. And right after that, you eat, you go back home, you rest. If you have another during the day, you go for it. But most of the time, we lessen the amount of training because it's like the way you peak for competition is not by training right before. It's by making sure you have the right baggage of training beforehand, before the competition happens. And then as you come close to competition, you really lessen the load. So, we would train most of the time about it once a day and just eat well, rest well, don't think too much about what's happening. I had a few chats with my psychologist to make sure that, because as much as in the past I had trouble with my mental aspect, if I was not ready enough during the games, I was as ready as I could be. I still have my list of me writing down why I was ready to race at the Olympic Games. So it's pretty cool. And yeah, just having good time, not think too much about what's happening and eat well, spend time with my teammates to, sometimes when you're stuck in your head, you need someone else to help you get out of it. So I was spending time with my teammates. It was fun.
How does it feel now to have Olympian behind your last name and have Olympian medalist behind your last name?
Most of the time I don't think about it because now I'm like full-time in school right now and I'm just a student. But it's pretty funny because sometimes I'll forget I went, or no, I won't forget. I'll feel like it's a dream or some kind of fever dream. I'm like, did I actually go to the Olympic Games? And then when that happens, because it happens from time to time, I'll look on my desk and I see my 2 medals that are in their like nice little socket. And I'm like, yeah, I actually went. I actually did go. Phew, thank God it's not just a dream. But yeah, it happens. And whenever, yeah, I just need to like, it did happen. You did do that. Congratulations. I just pat myself on the shoulder.
Who are some people that you look up to in the sport of sprint canoeing?
Mostly my teammates because they're like, you do something, but also it's inspiring to see your teammates do as much, if not even more sometimes. We all vary from person to person. Not everyone trains the same, but I just get inspired by my fellow teammates. My crew boat teammate, she's really, really good. She's amazing. So it's just like if I knew I had to go to the games with someone, it had to be her because there was no way. Like I knew I had the confidence in her to do everything we needed to get the medal we did. So she's one. And I also have one of my club mates, Andrian, who actually was there at the games with me. And when I say at the games, I was trying to spend time with my teammates and my friends to like let my mind go sometimes. Well, she's the person I spent most of my time with. We had dinner and lunch together most of the time. And it was just, she's someone who really inspires me because she is a training machine, and she's just there, very grounded and very, very strong. So she very inspiring. Like she one quote I like to use in my training in my career is something she told me once. It was like, for races, the person who wins is not necessarily the best person. It's the person who knows it's gonna hurt but keeps going no matter what. And that followed me a long time because it's so true. It's not because you're good out of the race that you're going to be good in the race if you're not able to push.
Were there any people that were at the Olympic Games that you looked up to growing up that you were like, oh my God, I'm right there with them?
Yeah, so in my sport, I was on the international scene for so long that I really didn't have like anyone like that. I've known them for a long time, and some of them are really impressive, but it was not like, oh my God, this person. So yeah, it didn't happen in my sport, but it was funny because you in the Canadian building, you can see other sports, and sometimes you're like, you feel like someone is such a star because in their sport they're amazing, but you've never, they're mostly a normal person, right? But it's funny because in the same day at one point I came across Damon Warner and just said hi, and then not even an hour later, I think, I was doing something else, and then Andre DeGrasse comes in with his coach and his therapist, and I'm like, oh hi, yeah, you need me to leave? Because I was done with what I was doing. But it was really, it's pretty funny that people who sometimes you'll be like, oh, they're like such superstars, but they're just normal people and they actually are there and they actually live. It's pretty funny. And I also had a good chat with the Damian Warner when we were done and we were going back to the airport, and he was such a lovely person, just super nice and very just down to earth. Yeah.
What are some of your future plans in your sport as canoeing?
As of now, I still am like questioning and deciding what I want to do, because for most of my career, I tried to do school, but I really never was like full time in school. And so during the games, I got accepted in my favorite program. I got accepted in my first choice, which was physiotherapy. So when I got accepted, like it was about 2 or 3 days before a race that I knew I was in for this fall semester. So when I got in, I was like, all right, I want to do things well. I want to get into this program and give it my best, because this is what I want to do in my life. It's not like just another program. It's something I really want to do. So for now, I am full-time in school and I'm enjoying it a lot. So I'm giving myself a little bit of time before I decide, what I do with the racing career.
What advice would you give future people and current females looking to go into spring kayak canoeing?
So much has changed from when I was there in 2010, where there was 21 of us, and most of them were not even canoers. Most of them were actually kayakers that were told by their coaches or their federation, yeah, we need a slot in canoeing. Do you mind just like jumping in a canoe and try? So that was then, and now it's like the field is so strong, but it's also such a good thing for the sport. And the sport isn't only strong, there's so much more support. When I was there in 2010, I was not even given a coach for the discipline. We were like getting taken care of by someone else's coach, because there was not anything for women's canoe. So now, like, I see younger teammates of mine who come in, they're 18 and they're so much stronger than I could ever have been at 18, because at 18 I was not like, I didn't go to training camps. Like, I went, but I was not as included in the process as now it is. So for younger female athletes or even male athletes, whoever decides to try, I feel like it's really, really fun, because now the opportunities are there and they're just there to take. So, find someone who believes in you and go for it. Now, like, I'm proud because the girls can do it. They're not told no. I've been told no enough, and now they don't have to hear that. So it's really cool. They just can do whatever they want.
What advice would you give people looking to go to the Olympics for the first time like you did, or go to the second? It'd be like the second or third time going to the Olympics.
Sorry, can you repeat that question?
What advice would you give people looking to go to the Olympics for the first time, or whether it's the second or third time going?
First, make sure, I've said it a few times, but make sure you have a really full preparation. This is something that can make or break performance, because no matter how strong you're physically, you're only as strong as what your mind tells you. So mind in there, you know, it's not gonna work as well. So first, also when you go there, just, it is an opportunity, but it's also for it's for you. It's enjoy it. Like, don't go crazy on all the distractions in the village. Like, that's not what I'm saying, but enjoy this amazing race that is only gonna happen a handful of time in your life if you're lucky, or maybe once. And that's okay too, but enjoy it, do the best you can, and try to, I don't know, I tried to like not go crazy with what was happening. So that's why I was spending time with my teammates and reading and watching videos, and just, you don't want to focus too much on what's happening. You want to be aware, but don't go crazy. I don't know. That's what I did. That's what worked for me. Doesn't mean it's gonna work for everyone, but just, there are strategies for everyone. Just make sure you know what they are for yourself, and work with people you have around you to make sure those strategies are in place.
That's great advice. Where can my listeners find you at on social media?
I do have an Instagram page at Laurence Vincent Lapointe. So this is my page, and also a Facebook page, same thing, Laurence Vincent Lapointe. The problem is with my school right now, I'm not incredibly active, but I do post from time to time, so they can they can find me there.
Thank you again, Laurence Vincent Lapointe, for your interview, and best of luck in your future in sprint canoeing.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Laurence Lapointe, for your interview, and best of luck in your future.
Thank you.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.